Hello and welcome to our little corner of the internet where we talk about fountain pens, inks, journals, and journaling. Just about anything and everything that's going to keep you inspired. I see my haters in the house. I already got my thumbs down. Still invite you to come on the show. Anytime you'd like, I'd love to have you on a split screen and we can talk because my channel is about bringing people together. It's about keeping you inspired. And it just makes me feel bad that there's this just one person just so full of hate and yet so obsessed with me. They show up each week, but there you have it. And that's the way the world is, my friends. So welcome. I am happy to have you here. We have such a fun show planned for you this evening. I take on the tough questions. And I'll tell you why, and I'll tell you what in a little while. But that is the main topic tonight. And then we're also going to do a little wrap up about the Commonwealth Pen Show, what I think of it, how it was, a couple of interesting stories that went along with it because nothing happens in a vacuum. Ooh, thanks for all the thumbs up, guys. I appreciate it. Love all of you that are here each week. It's great to see a lot of the same names in the chats and a lot of new people as well as we grow this community, and I appreciate it. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. It's easy. There's a button down there. I believe it's on this side. Hit that and come along in this journey with us because I can promise you I'll take you to some interesting and different places. Recently, I took you through my list of the top 5 most iconic fountain pens. Had a blast making that video. I think I filmed it around 2 months ago. It was a lot of fun. It's one of those ones where you have to think kind of very analytically to get to the essence of what does it mean to be an icon, which ones qualify. And as I say that, I picked the top 5. I think I actually did 7, if you were counting. I believe it was 7. Did anybody count? Let me know in the comments if you know how many I did. Because I don't want to say never, I do sometimes, but I rarely just do how many I say I'm going to do. And I usually do more. But I do have a further list. So I think there's going to be 5 more top icons coming some point in the very, very near future. We have a pretty exciting and interesting lineup for you. There's a new Dark Academia video coming in a few weeks. There's no way that fountain pen is worth that video coming in a few weeks, which I think you'll like. And perhaps it's a good time to tell you what's coming Thursday. So this Thursday is a video on the top 5 mind-blowing facts about fountain pens that I'm betting you don't know, but maybe you do. Well, let me know if you do in the comments when you watch it. So these are things I found while I was researching various videos. I just thought they were really interesting and I thought it deserved its own video and it would be a lot of fun. I certainly think it is, so I hope you do too. I hope you enjoy it. So I need to recognize somebody, a very lovely person, John Tompkins, with a $10 super chat. Thank you, John. Helps to keep the lights on. The lights are bright tonight, in part thanks to John Tompkins. He says to help keep the lights on. He does say that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the Sinatra reference in the description, by the way. Well, John, let me tell you, I appreciate you reading the description of tonight's live show. I try to put interesting allusions and things in there and try to make it clever. And I appreciate you picking up on that. So thank you, and thank you for that super chat. It's very, very generous of you. So I want to thank you. So I want to answer a lot of questions tonight. I sort of want to make this a Q&A hour mostly. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Hit me with tough questions. I mean, maybe my hater can hit me with a question. That would be really, really interesting. And if you tie it to a super chat, I'll see it. So you could do that, my lovely hater who watches religiously. So I appreciate that. So are you really a hater if you watch every week? I'm just curious about that. So I thought it'd be fun. We're going to go through a lot of really tough questions I've received, and I'd like to take some too from the folks in the comments. Did you see the video I put up about the Commonwealth Pen Show? Did you guys see that? I would appreciate it. First, I want to address this lovely super chat that came in from Adam Meta. Adam Meta Fusion. 799. I think that's Australian. I'm not sure. Forgive me. But thank you very much. Super chat. And he says, can you please wish a happy birthday to my mom, Anthea? I can't see why not. I mean, Anthea, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Wishing you all the best on your happiest special day. What a nice gesture. So very nice. Thank you for the super chat and happy birthday. I really appreciate it. So I hope you guys saw the video. Let me know in the chat and in the comments if you're watching the replay. So there were a couple of innovations. Did you notice? I invested in the channel and I got a really neat magnetic microphone that's supposed to be the best microphone to interact with an iPhone. And I learned my lesson from the DC Pen Show. The DC Pen Show had some challenges because we were on crummy hotel Wi-Fi and we were trying to stream. And I should have recorded. So I should have. And the sound wasn't very good because the only microphone I had was on a lanyard. And it would have probably been pulled off me if I tried to use it because it was so many people. But so I have these really interesting Bluetooth ones now that clip on me, and they're really nice. I mean, you could hear Brian Holzer, who I was speaking with at Esterbrook. It was picking up a lot of really good sound. So I think that's kind of a new innovation. I think you'll see more of me out in the world doing videos now because I can do it. And I'm not sure what effect it'll have, but I think it's going to have a positive effect on the channel. So I'm looking down and I see some questions. If I see something, I will grab it if it's interesting. So Daniel McCain's asking me, am I going to the Uffizi? Not this trip. I'm only going to Roman Venice, and it's already fraught with adventures. So we're taking a little diatribe here, but I think you'll find this interesting. So I'm staying in Rome, and I want my daughter to see the Capitoline Museum, the Borghese Gallery, the Capuchin Crypt, the Forum di Augusto, and all the just really interesting stuff to see. But I also want her to see Venice. So we're taking the high-speed train to Venice. But the problem is that we went to take the high-speed train back, and there wasn't one. They're shutting down the lines to do some repairs. So we have to fly back to Rome, and then we're in Rome for a while more, and then we fly out. So it's just going to be Rome and Venice this time. But next time. So, I'm going to use those microphones in Italy. I don't know. I might try to do an entire show somewhere or something. That's what I'm thinking. Or I'll at least do an outro or something. It'll be super fun. Maybe I can do something at the Coliseum and attach it to a video later or something. Do some fun stuff. So, but in the future, I think you'll see me at museums and we can do more stuff. Really, really interesting things. But okay, let's go back to the Commonwealth Pen Show because I think you'll find this interesting. So the night before the Commonwealth Pen Show, it was the night before the pen show and all through the house. Not a creature was stirring except for Hemingway Jones at about 3 o'clock in the morning when he had gout. And suddenly he had to pull off his stockings and everything else, including the blanket, because he was in immense pain and my foot blew up the size of thunder in Big Trouble in Little China just before he explodes. So that happened to me 3 o'clock in the morning, Friday night, with the Commonwealth Pen Show being the next morning. So I got up because I didn't want to wake up Helen. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I have gout, honey. I'm going to go downstairs and watch television. I don't want to disturb you, so please go back to bed." And I went downstairs and I started to watch YouTube like anyone does. I watched all these videos on Italy and its economic situation and about its prime minister, just really interesting cultural things about Italy I didn't know. And I watch really funny videos. I'm really into videos about mid-level luxury handbags, which is strange, you might think, but I just find it fascinating. And it was all about the brands that no one knows that are really nice stuff, like Freya, New York, and Demolier, and what was that other one? Polan. So I was watching those, so I now know about that. And anyway, so I get this text from my wife, and it says Imogen wants to come down. She can't sleep. So it's around 4:30. Imogen comes down, and she's like, I'm going to stay with you, Daddy. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm like, oh, thanks so much. So, we were on the couch together, and she's like stroking my hair. She's such like an empathetic little soul, just such a sweetheart. And she says to me at one point, she's like, we stick together. We're Steiners. That's my real last name. So super cute. And there's that like family team spirit just means the world to me. But so I then fell asleep maybe for like another hour. So I think the whole entire night I probably slept for like 4 hours. So then I get up and try to have some breakfast, and I realize that none of my shoes fit. And I have to go to the Commonwealth. And I'll be honest, I literally thought of just not going. I'm like, people understand. I'm laid up. The one thing when you get gout, the last thing you're supposed to do is go walking on it. And the one issue with the Commonwealth was that the parking was like 10 minutes away. And there was no way I could make that walk. I just couldn't. And the distance from the T was like 15 minutes. The T is our train station here in Massachusetts. The train system, really. And there was no way I was going to make either of those walks. I couldn't even find a shoe that would fit my foot. So I'm about to leave, and I realize that I have my house shoes. Do you know my house shoes with the dragons on them? They're like black. They're kung fu shoes with dragons and things. I buy them just to wear in the house. Well, I had an older pair that I keep here in my study, and I occasionally wear it either just in the study, which is kind of a liminal space for my house because there's doors on both sides. And I will go out in like the mailbox and things with that, but they don't leave this room, which is always a little rough around the edges because it's my room, really. And I had them here, and they were slippers, so I tried them on. They fit my foot. So if you look really closely, I'm like hobbling around on stockings. I guess they're not stockings, they're slippers at the Commonwealth. But I didn't want to disappoint anyone. And I had said for months, like, I'll be there at 11. I can meet you. And there were tons of people there. Just, Mark, John, Ann Riskin was there. Just a lot of really, really lovely people. And I didn't want to disappoint Joe Brown, who's a really good friend of mine. And, of course, Piers, who was there as well. Lovely guy. Just great people. And I knew Brian Holzer would be there. And I pushed myself and I went, but I probably had taken 4 naproxen by then. So I was a little swimmy, and I was a little bit in pain. So if you watch the video and you look closely, look at my feet. Lady Manx, a super chat, thank you. Assuming all humans are safe, if your house was aflame, what 5 things from your library would you grab to make it interesting? Can't be all pens. Oh, that's a good question. I probably should have saved this until when we get to the questions, but that's a really good question. I'm just going to knock that out really quick, and then I'll finish the Commonwealth story. So in my library, I have a bunch of first editions that are interesting, and then I have some books that I just love. So I would certainly grab my Hemingway first editions. You can see some of them up here. For Whom the Bell Tolls with the Dust Jacket is foremost of them. So I would certainly grab those. And then I'd probably grab my journals, to be honest. But some other ones, Herodotus, I love. I love Ancient Rome for 10 denarii a day. I believe it's called. It's a really interesting travel guide to ancient Rome. It's one of my favorite books, Herodotus. Did I say that? Yeah, possibly. And I have a first edition of The Alienist, which I probably would grab because it's one of my favorite books. So there you have it. I think The Alienist is up here, right there. First edition. Super proud of that. So Kurt says I grab my fire extinguisher. That's not a bad idea. I do have 2 fire extinguishers in the house. I'm very careful that way. But so I didn't want to disappoint anyone, so I went. But I really didn't stay that long at the Commonwealth, even though I had a blast. And it's a very fun show. It's more geared towards vintage pens. Someone told me there was a Mont Blanc Hemingway there, which I missed. And it's probably good because I probably would have bought it. And I'm really kind of glad I didn't see it. I only bought one thing, and I'm going to show it to you right now. I bought one thing, and here's my pen haul. Maybe this tells you a little bit about my peace of mind. Hey, look, I'm in York. Hi, York. So this is what I bought. It's this really cool wax seal from the Day Art store, from the Liacon group. I thought it was the Belvedere Torso, but I was wrong. My wife corrected me. She knows these things. But it's kind of, at least I make a kind of an interesting mistake. So, very cool. And it has my initial. If you watch the video, you'll see me purchasing this. So, kind of a nice way. Not 100% sure about the butterfly, but that's okay. I have other ones I could screw on. But this is so dark academic and so cool. I just had to have it. So, very, very cool little dark academic detail from a statue. So that's all I bought. That was it. Nothing else. I looked for that ink that Imogen wants, Sweet Dreams. Obbs thinks it's cool. It must be cool. Sweet Dreams from Diamine. Couldn't find it. I did find a Sweet Dreams pen over at Estherbrook. But we didn't buy that. We almost did. I was saying to my wife, like, do you want it? I'll buy it for you. But we did not. Kate says, yeah, I saw Kate there. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kate. Kate and I met up. We haven't seen each other in 2 years. She said, I could tell you weren't feeling well. Yeah, by the end, like, I saw you as I was leaving the last, because I saw you twice. But as I saw you the second time, I was literally like, oh my gosh, get me to the car. I can't take this anymore. Because when you have gout, have you ever had a cramp in your foot? It's like a Charlie horse, and you're you walk it off. You know that feeling, like you get it and it's up in the knuckle of your foot and you're like, I gotta walk it off. I gotta force myself to walk. Well, imagine if you couldn't walk it off. That's gout. It's rough, and I don't know why I get it. It doesn't seem triggered by the right foods that it should. I think it's sugar. I definitely consume too much sugar and it's inflammatory. So I've changed my diet. Look, I have water tonight. Look at me. So good for me. Nice, clean, filtered water. The reason is that I am doing an anti-inflammatory diet, and it'll help the numbness in my arms too, because I have that compression in my spine and it makes inflammation. And so I'm going to change my whole lifestyle. We're going to fix it myself. So I'm very excited. So I was going through all that while I was at the pen show, and it was really tough, but it was also tempered by meeting lovely people and having great conversations and everything else. I'll say a few things about it. To be honest, I hope they find a venue with parking. I heard from a lot of people that said they wanted to go, but there wasn't parking. And so they didn't. And ironically, there ended up being a lot of street parking. I don't know why. I ended up parking right by it and walking, which was brilliant. Somerville's not known for its parking, but you need a hotel that has a parking lot. That's ideal, I think, for a pen show. And then the second thing that was funky, and we had some fun with it in the video, I think you may have seen, was the lighting. The lighting was like nightclub lighting in parts. It was purple and blue, and it was almost as if they just turned every light on in the house as if there were a concert or something. But it made it hard to see some pens. You know what I mean? they looked, they lost their detail and the color. You couldn't really make out colors if you were bathed in that light. It was like Kramer's apartment when Kenny Rogers Roasters kept their red sign on and he couldn't tell red. You know, Mr. Marbles was creeping around like my daughter does in the middle of the night. I hope you guys are following these Seinfeld references. Kate parked across the street. So, yeah, just, you know, it was an interesting venue, a pretty venue, an interesting building. And by the way, I can't believe none of you guys commented on what my daughter says when we're walking in. Did anyone catch? Let me know in the comments if you caught what my daughter says when we're walking in. So, I'll tell you what she said, but let me know if you caught it. She says, watch out for the rat traps. She's so funny. She's so funny because, you know, we taught her what rat traps are. And it's a fact of life in Boston, most major cities. It's been like that since they were founded. I mean, you know, rats come on ships. And Boston's very much a bay city. So, super funny. And I think in the video I say, yep, we definitely got to look out for those. So, super, super funny. So that was kind of my pen show adventure. After I left, I went home. I did not leave my couch until this morning when I did go to work because I had to. I had meetings today. I couldn't postpone. So I had to go. And I took a bunch of naproxen and I wore my slippers to the office today. I see some people did notice Imogen being herself. So, Joe Brown speaking for the Pen Show, saying we will be addressing those issues in our wrap-up meeting. Oh, that's good. You know, I think all in all, Joe, it was a fantastic time, and it looked incredibly successful because it was packed, guys. I was there for about an hour and a half, and it was packed. So they're doing a lot right. A lot right. So if you're watching and you've made it this far, please subscribe. I'd love to have you along with us. I can't say this enough. It's important. Trying to grow the channel. So I'd love to meet you. So comment, say hello. I answer most, if not all, my comments. It's getting a little tougher. We're getting really busy. The icons video really took off. I do try, but it's getting tougher, but I always try to look at every comment I can and at least like it or say something if I can. So say hello. All right, so I think it's time for questions. And I want to give you a little background on what's going on with this and why I'm facing the music. I am facing the music. So why am I facing the music? Well, you may or may not recall that around 5 months ago, I asked you guys for some questions, and I was going to do sort of like a little panel thing. I was looking for a project to do with my wife. I try to have her on the show now and then. I think she's done with it, but I'm going to try to lure her back sometime. But I think the pen purse thing was kind of her swan song. But before I did the pen purse thing, I was going to have her ask me the questions because Helen has such a fantastic voice. And I just thought it'd be interesting. It'd be a little repartee where I could kind of talk to her and it'd be almost like her interviewing me with your questions. And I thought that would be fantastic, but she's kind of retired from the channel. So I'm going to, I don't want to not answer all those wonderful questions. And I feel bad. It's been like 5 months. We ended up doing pen purses, purse pens, which was a fantastic video. I love that one. If you haven't seen it, I don't think too many people saw that one. It was released kind of in high summer when people were doing other things. But it's a really great video too on Helen's purses and the pens that work well with them and which pens are great for purses. And she picks a top one. It's controversial because I disagreed. Because, you know, I have an opinion. Of course I do. So it was super fun to make. Peg Leg Pirate Rooster, $9.99. Hi, buddy. You should have let your daughter do a short video of her own. That would be a ton of fun and oh so cute. I think at some point I would like to do that. You know, I kind of, you know, I'm a little protective of Imogen. Like I like that she's on camera with me because we're a family. We do everything together. But at the same time, I guess I guess I want it to be a nice balance. You know, I love that we're together, but I don't know. I guess I worry a little bit if she's too much. Does that make sense? But yeah, great idea, my friend. I mean, I'll tell you this. I'm sure everyone would rather watch her than watch me because she is lovely. Oh, Like a Man saw the purse video and I learned some good things. Hey, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Oh, JR Diaz points out that there's bloopers. There were some, anytime Helen and I are together, we end up with a really fun blooper reel that I post back in the members section. I might make some of the older blooper reels public since they've been out for a while, but the blooper reels are really for members, and it's one of the boosts bonuses. Yeah, okay. Of being a member, as you can see the bloopers. I'm creating a blooper reel now. I make fewer bloopers now because I record differently. But I do save them when I do. And sometimes it's a challenge. So, Evil Critter says you don't want to turn your kiddo into a commodity. Yeah, I think that's kind of... I guess my thinking, if an Evil Critter, you're kind of pushing me in that direction. My thinking is this. I'm putting her in front of the camera, but how much agency does she have, right? She's 7. Is she going to be 12, 14, being like, why did you put me in those pen videos? Like, in a way, she's not of the age of really knowing what all that entails. So... I want it to be the right balance. I don't ever want her to be older and look back and be like, boy, you know, I'm everywhere in those videos or whatever. I see some of like YouTube and the kids videos have like kids that are heavily scripted and it becomes almost a little sad. So yeah, I guess I'm protecting her. I mean, she's my kid, you know, I adore her. Okay. So let's get to questions, right? That's what you're here for. And they're super fun. I tried not to read them all, but I did see a couple because I want them to be fresh. So this came from Jay Cisneros84 over at Instagram. And he asked, what criteria do you use when buying a fountain pen other than cost? That's a great question. And I think you guys know that I buy pens. By the way, Lockbee Quattro. I've been using this a lot. I like it. I have one pen in it. This is one I took to work today. This is what I've been using these days. This is the Around the World in 80 Days by Montblanc. Let me see if I can show you. Hey, get out of there. So here it is. Beautiful. Elephant detail. Beautiful. Beautiful pen. I mean, look at the color. All of that. We inked it up last week. I've been using it ever since. I adore this pen. I'm having a blast with it. So why am I showing it to you now when a question was asked? Well, for a very specific reason. This pen was expensive and it just resonated with me along with an Edson that was next to it, and with it I bought it from Truffet at the DC Pen Show. You may have seen me buying it. You know, it's just like I had to have it. So price and cost isn't a top criterion. I definitely try to hold myself back at $1,000. But the other things that I look at is, how does this pen inspire me? Like, where does it push me in a new direction? Is it something I haven't tried? Is it something interesting? Is it a slightly different angle on anything I've done? For this one, it was a much more decorative Mont Blanc than I've ever owned. This thing is more so than the 100-year anniversary pen. It's gold and glistening, and it's just really elegant and fun and different. So, and the Edson was just spoke to me as a person. I dedicated an entire video to it that's coming up soon. It just resonates with me on so many levels. So it's mostly my heart, my curiosity that drives my pen purchases. I will say, Sometimes I won't buy a pen if I don't feel like I can express myself with it on YouTube too. So if a pen just kind of looks like, I've done that, it looks kind of like I've covered that ground before, I probably wouldn't buy it. So new colors don't always motivate me. Although I do regret not buying the original 2 colors of the Lamy Safari, because it would have been great in telling the story to have them, the terracotta. And what's the other one called? I forget, the green one. Savannah, right? Isn't it Savannah? Somebody tell me in the comments, won't you? I know my fact checkers are better than I am. But I love those. That would have been cool. So that's kind of what I look at when I go to buy a pen. But it's mostly just me going, ooh, shiny, pretty thing. Must have. Oh, I love it. I need to be with it. Pig Leg Pirate Rooster's back with another $10. Thank you very much. Very good points. I was drawing my poorly thought out. No, don't, what you were saying about Im, I think it's, it's a great idea to have her at some point on camera. She's wonderful and she's lovely. And I know the spirit that you meant your question. It just kind of got me thinking, because, you know what it's like. You're a parent, you're kind of overprotective, and, but I would love to do a video with her. She's very mature for her age. Sometimes she fools you in her levels of maturity and the things that she says. She seems very much aware of things that most kids aren't. She says really funny stuff. If I'm out at a restaurant or something, say I eat a bone and I'm like putting it in the napkin, my daughter will look at me and go, "Daddy, that's not very sophisticated." It's just so funny. I mean, she's a very old soul. And you have my wife to thank for that. It's all her. My wife is also very, very wonderful. Okay, super chat, $2 from Patel Philippe. Paramount Blanc to a Rolex. Ooh. Oh yeah. You know what's funny? I did a watch video with watches and fountain pens, and I didn't use my Rolex. I used a bunch of other watches that I have and not my Rolex. But I will say, Mr. Philippe, that thank you for bringing that up, because I want to ask you, specifically you and everyone, if you know a watch holder that's like a watch sleeve, maybe made out of suede or something soft, that I can put one of my watches in, just one. I want it to fit one. I want it to be about the shape of a single watch that I can keep in my pocket, so that I can have 2 watches with me, like one on my wrist, one in my pocket. If anybody knows something like that would work, can you please put it in the comments, the name or a link or something, because I would appreciate it. Please do. Let me see. But then Philippe, the Archie Luxury live stream came over here with Archie shows. Some like pens, most like watches. Check us out sometime. Yeah, I definitely will. Thank you so much. I've watched Archie Luxury before. He's an interesting character. He definitely holds certain watch brands to a high esteem, and not so much with the more accessible stuff. He has a derogatory term for them, which is an interesting take. I do watch a lot of watch videos. I'm going to do a video like that, along that lines, but the inverse, kind of the opposite of that, very soon. I think you guys are going to like it. A lot of interesting stuff coming up. All right, we better get to another question. We're burning through time this evening, aren't we? So this is from Instagram as well, and the person is Ruben Finger. So it's RBNFRNGPLS. I'm sorry I can't put it on the screen unless it's in the chat. I can't. So forgive me for that. Chris Sines. Hi, Chris. I'm going to put that up. Chris Sines says, Rick Shaw's making some cool watch cases. Maybe not the material you're looking for, though. Love that company. He is the nicest guy. I met him at the DC Pen Show. He is such a cool guy. I want to be friends with him, but I'm not sure I made a good impression. I hope I did. So, thank you, Chris. Always great to see you, my friend. So Ruben Finger Plus responded, "Do you ever feel bad about owning too many pens and inks? A struggle for me lately." I do feel bad about owning a lot of pens and inks, more so the inks. I could literally get by with a handful of inks, and I may rehome all my inks. I have a sort of hospital caddy from IKEA that has all my ink in it, and then I have another box in the basement. It's too much ink. I'm seriously. I was thinking about having like a garage sale sometime, but I'm seriously thinking about rehoming all this ink because I am much more focused on certain ones, and I guess I don't have too expansive of a palette for color within my pens. So I feel like I could get my inks down to 10, and I think I have well over 100 now. So yes, I do think I have too many. It's sort of a consequence of being someone who makes videos on YouTube because inks are always coming, pens are always coming. I'm becoming more discerning with pens too. I've had a few offers to make videos on pens that I've said no to lately, where I just didn't want to. And I've had a few where I did. And more twists on what we were saying before about how I can't be bought, but there are some things that I'm inspired by. I asked Pilot for a fountain pen because I wanted to do the most epic Pilot video I possibly could because I adore Pilot. I love it as a brand. I love the story of it. I just think you could do top 5 iconic Pilot fountain pens, let alone iconic fountain pens. Pilot is that good. So I asked them, can I please have a pen so I can do a video? And they sent it to me, which is very, very kind. I met them at the DC Pen Show. So very, very kind. Okay. Super chat from JP Pen and Ink. Hello, JP Pen and Ink. How are you? 5 Australian dollars, I think. Thank you. Thank you, HA. I really enjoy your content. Just don't get to often watch them live, the Australian time zones. However, I do watch the replays. Well, JP, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you watching, and I really appreciate the super chat. So, JP Pen and Ink, wonderful to see you. Thank you. And you're you're a day ahead of me. Many people are, but Australia in particular. So there you have it. Terry Egerton says, you can never have too many inks in my inky world. A lot of people are that way, but I'm starting to feel sort of burdened by them. I'm starting to feel weighted. I'm starting to run out of places to put them. And I'd like to get it to their essence. I know there's ones I'll never touch again. I've reviewed them. I played with them for a week or two, and I'm kind of done. And those I'm going to rehome. And I'm going to pare it down because I could use that for more storage. Though I am about to get more shelves. We're going to have shelves on both sides. I am super excited about that. So, Patel Philippe, super chat, $2. HJ, what brands of watches do you like? I am obsessed right now with Cartier. I have one Cartier watch. It's a tank. I just adore it, but I want a Tank Louis in gold. I wear my Rolex GMT Master 2, reference number 1167, LN, almost all the time. All the time. So it's hard to put another watch on here, but I love my Seiko. I have a Seiko Arnie. I have a Seiko Turtle. I have a Seiko... Is it a Sumo? Yeah, it's a Sumo in green that I quite like. So I really like watches, but I could just collect Cartier because Cartier, the square and the rectangular, the Cartos, the Cartos Santos speak to me. There's something about those pens I just really like, and I think it's the mix of antique with their almost grandfather like watch faces with more modern and sort of oyster style bracelets. I just love them. and I have one. But my wife bought me this GMT, and I'm kind of married to it. I just really love it, and it was really sweet of her. Let's get to another question from Instagram. Desert Inkwell. Is it possible to fully clean a Bohème if you suspect there's internal rust? The Bohème, of course, is the clock-like... We're on the subject of watches. Let's talk clock. Clock-like little puzzle box of a fountain pen that's a pocket pen that turns into a regular size by posting it. Lovely, beautiful. It's a little tricky, though. The mechanism inside, I don't know. I'm hoping mine's not rusted. I've never taken it apart to that point. Maybe it is. Sometimes it's better not to look. But everything works on mine beautifully, very smooth, so I think it's fine. So I use I use two things to clean it. We have a baster in the house that we used to clean my daughter's nasal effusions. Does that work as a euphemism? When she was a baby. Matter of fact, I got a pea out of her nose once. She put a pea in her nose. I got it out when she was a baby with this thing. I use that. It fits it perfectly. And I also have this product from my friend Ian Schoen at Schoen Designs that fits it perfectly. It fits the Bohème, and I'm able to flush it. So, but as to the mechanism and keeping it lubricated and stuff, I don't go that far. So forgive me. Okay, here's another question. This one's from John Shaw from Instagram. What got you interested in the finer things, especially fountain pens? So I do like the finer things in life, if you will, and there is a reason for it. I have a personal philosophy that I don't just buy something unless it's useful or beautiful. And if it is useful and beautiful to me, did I just sound like William Morris? Did I just quote William Morris? I think I did. It has to also sort of have utility and longevity. So I get a knife. I'm going with something that's going to last the rest of my life. And one day my daughter is going to own this and be like, I remember my daddy opening letters from his friends in the Pen Pal group on his channel. The Illuminati and Cognoscenti members of this channel. We're in a Pen Pal group. And this is what I open their letters with. And she'll remember that. And this will last forever. This is just a fantastic cutting instrument that is really sort of a overpowered letter opener for me right now. But anything I buy the right thing. I would rather have one thing that's great than keep buying iterations that don't quite do the job. So, if you want something, you need the right tool, and it should be satisfying to your desires and your goals so that you don't buy it 6 times. Like, I buy nice shoes because they last. I have a pair of Ferragamos. I was just telling my wife I need to get new soles on. I bought them in Florence at Ferragamo's headquarters in 2000. So they're 24 years old, and they look fine. So I buy things that will last. And I think you should too. And that goes with pens. Pens that will last and serve you a long, long time. Great question. Great question. Okay. Let's go to home team. This is Scott Lasky, a member of the channel. Lovely guy with the most beautiful printed handwriting you've ever seen. If you could go back in time, what era would you travel to? And what fountain pen would you bring with you? Okay, see, now that he said which fountain pen, well, I was thinking about the Belle Epoque. I think I was falling into Midnight in Paris, where I was going to go back to the 20s and then end up in the Belle Epoque and then realize that I need to live in the now. But when he said, which fountain pen would you bring with you? Suddenly I spun this whole scenario in my imagination, just like that. And it's me with the Mont Blanc Egyptomania going back to 1920s Egypt on a dig out in the desert, wearing probably a linen suit and a linen tie and a pith helmet or whatnot, and drawing the cave swimmers with what was this, Count Laszlo? What was that chap's name in The English Patient? We could read excerpts from Herodotus to each other. Yeah, that's normal. But that's what I see. I'd like to go back in time to the 1920s to an archaeological dig in northern Africa with my Mont Blanc Egyptomania. Wouldn't that be super fun? Great question, my friend. Very, very good question. Hey, here's one from JP Pen and Ink. How about that? I hope you're still here. Has writing with a fountain pen changed you? I feel like everything revolves around whether I can use my fountain pen, and I have become a paper snob. I also enjoy writing more now, whether it be journaling, writing letters, to-do lists, etc. Yeah, absolutely. Writing with a fountain pen has certainly changed me. I would say that I don't like to use other people's pens. I like to use my own, and I always have one with me. And much of my life revolves around pens. In fact, I notice sometimes when I'm not in the fountain pen world and I have a crazy pen on me, I'm often demoing pens. I'll bring them to work or I'm elsewhere. And I'll have say I have this pen on me, the Around the World in 80 Days. I have this glittering gold cap. And I see people kind of looking at it, and then they know me and they're just kind of like, yeah, that's just Tim. So yes, much of my life revolves around this passion for fountain pens. And I do write every chance I get. I've been sort of journaling at a glacial pace lately. I've been so busy. I'm hardly having time to edit videos. It's kind of sad. And I need to get in gear because I need to cover for the 2 weeks I'm away when I go to Italy. Oh, okay. Lisa Evans, 2848. Lisa Evans. Hi, Lisa. A member of the channel. Thank you. This is a great question. If you could only use one pen for an entire year, which would you choose and why? Okay, so if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with one that I use for 4 years exclusively. I'm inking up my Mont Blanc 149. To me, that is the one pen that kind of rules them all. It just keeps me inspired. It's flawless in its performance. It suits my hand. It writes so smoothly. It's such a pretty glide across any page. So yes, if I had to pick one, it's the Mont Blanc 149. So there we have it. Thomas Quinn, 284. Whom do you rely upon as a seller of vintage pens? Terry at Peyton Street, almost exclusively. I keep an eye on Peyton Street. If you follow me on Instagram, I often post some pens that I see go up on Peyton Street, and it's usually because I don't want to buy them and I want you guys to before I do. And recently there was a ruby red Edson. It was tempting. It was only $500. It was a little rough around the edges, but it's $500 for an Edson in ruby red. I mean, you could put oxblood in it. Yamabudo, come on. It's just so much you could do. So I put it on my stories, and someone bought it, so I didn't have to. But I love Peyton Street pens. I have no affiliation. She has no clue who I am, but I do help her, and she doesn't even know it. Try to help her. Okay, let me see. Technoraptor 7778. Oh, great question. What substances are bad to wash your fountain pens in? Alcohol. Alcohol's terrible. And I had someone tonight in a DM over at Instagram asked me if they could use alcohol to clean their TWSBI. Alcohol's like dip in Roger Rabbit, and you dip your fountain pens in the alcohol and they melt. They dissolve instantly. No, not quite. But it can definitely destroy finishes, and in the case of TWSBI, I believe eventually it will just melt it and destroy the integrity of it. So not a good idea for alcohol to get anywhere near your fountain pens. And I'll tell you where this is insidious, and a lot of people don't think about this. And it's very insidious. your hands. What are you putting on your hands? Do you ever use antiseptic? Like you touch something gross, so you hit it with your pandemic era bottle of aloe-based antiseptic, and it's all in your hands, and then you touch your pens immediately while it's still wet. That's probably not a good idea. Or some other chemicals and substances. You kind of have to be aware of what's on your hands too. That's not washing, but you should just make sure your pens don't come into contact with these things. And I'm not an alarmist. I am not one of these people who raises alarms about things. I'm a little more laissez-faire, like, wash your pen, don't wash your pen, just enjoy your pen. But I think you do have to be a bit careful with what's on your hands, especially like a Maki-E pen or some other form of decorative art or beautiful finish. So, very important. All right, is this fun? I'm having a blast. You guys having a blast? Let me know in the comments if you're having fun, because I'm enjoying this. And thanks for the likes, guys. I only need 7 more likes to get to like 100 likes. So if 7 people could like this right now, it'd make me very happy. That would be nice. Ooh, Ann Riskin, who I saw at the Commonwealth Pen Show. Some bug spray will dissolve your watch crystals, so probably not good for pens either. Probably not. Probably not. And a lot of bug spray, pesticides, solvents. If you're into watercolors, some of the solvents for your brushes. That's a tough word for me to come up with right now. Your brushes. You want to keep those away from your pens. So Tracy Whited, too, a member of the channel, thank you, Tracy, says, what one place would you like to travel to, take your journal along, and have a dream writing experience? Everyone could answer this for me, couldn't you? Do you guys know? A lot of you guys know. Oh, thanks for the likes. We got over 100. I really appreciate it. Thank you. You made my life, my night. Right now, Venice. I cannot wait to get to Venice. I want to sit there with my daughter, and I would love to I want to take a lot of time. I'm not there in a rush to see a lot. I'm there to be there. The same with Rome. We're going to go to eat a lot of really good pasta and spend some really strong time together as a family. In fact, Yost, I love Yost, lovely guy. He asked me, he said, would you like me to arrange any fountain pen factory tours for you while you're in Italy? And I said, Yost, thank you so much. You're the best. But no, I don't. Thank you. No. This trip is like about family. It's about slowing down. It's about us spending maybe 2 hours in the Florian, watching people go by, having some antipasto and a nice spritz or something. I mean, my daughter won't be having a spritz, but we're going to go out for pasta. It's just going to be fun and just pensive and just interesting. So journaling goes right along with that. My family's kind of used to me having a book with me, a journal, a travel journal. I'm trying to decide now whether I'm bringing my big Bottega Obscura journal or if I'm going to bring more of a nicer than Moleskine, but some kind of fountain pen friendly pocket book that could be just a journal for this trip. I haven't decided, but I am thinking, going back and forth. So, David Parrish Productions, 5082. One of my favorite people, David Parrish. Lovely, lovely guy. Says, convince me cartridges are not stupid, confusing, and disappointing. I'm not the biggest cartridge guy, to be honest. I mean, I use them in lieu of converters where they kind of don't work well. I'm going back and forth about Pilot Vanishing Point, whether I should swap out the Con 40 for a cartridge and just fill it with the syringe. Cartridges are a lot more fun than they were 30 years ago. 30 years ago, cartridges came in far fewer colors. So they're certainly a lot more fun now, but I don't think I would disavow from that notion because I am not the biggest fan, to be completely honest about that. I'm just not. I'm kind of like I'm a little bit more receptive to cartridges. I really like the ruby red in the in the Kaweco, and I like these. These came out from Montblanc, these burgundy reds. I've been using this in my Bohème. I really like these. So, oh, I use these in my Traveler too. So there are ones that I do like. I do want to give a little kind of plug to the Day Art store. She has such great items. And I bought this for $30 at the pen show. And it has my initial. I was showing people earlier. But I really like it. It's so dark academic. You know you're going to see this in a bunch of B-roll coming up soon. It feels a little delicate. Maybe if you drop it. I've had other things made out of this, and I have a sort of gargoyle that's kind of covering his face. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's a monkey. It's not here. I think I put it away. But the cleaners dropped it in my office. I ended up gluing it all back together, and it looks pretty cool. But so you do have to be a little careful, but very nice. Very, very nice Day Art store. So highly recommend them. Big fan, guys. So this week we have a video on amazing fountain pen facts that you may not know. But when you watch it, let me know if you knew them, because I dug deep and these are obscure. They're not ones that are going to leap out at you. And they came from some pretty obscure sources while I was researching some other things. So I think you guys will enjoy it. And if you haven't watched the video on the Commonwealth Pen Show, please do. Especially as my daughter tells me to look out for the rat traps. That's probably my favorite part. And of course, if you haven't seen my top 5 icons, fountain pen icons video, please do. There are a lot of great comments. People added some excellent pens. I can assure you, you will see a part 2. And it'll be even more compelling, because you'll say, which direction is he going into? Because you never know. I always try to go to unique and interesting places. And I hope you enjoyed tonight. This was a fantastic time. I faced all your tough questions, and I will again. It was super fun. One day I'd like to get the great Helen back on the channel. She's super fun. And maybe she can help. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And if you've made it through the hour, please subscribe. I'd love to have you on this journey with us. I promise to take you to interesting and original places. That's the goal and the mission statement of this channel, to keep you inspired, engaged. So thank you. Thank you for being here. So I promise you, we will see each other again very, very soon, further up the road. So take care of yourselves. Thank you for being here, and much love to you all. Good night.